This show is brought to you by the Genesis Communications Network, a world leader in talk radio since 1998. Visit GCNlive.com today.
The stocks discussed on Wall Street Raw are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. If considering on acting on information, we first recommend you seek out a competent, licensed professional for advice.
What kingdom has sent you?
The kingdom of the Most High.
Nothing you have ever experienced can prepare you for the unbridled carnage you're about to witness. Right. Super Bowl, the World Series, they don't know what pressure is. In this building, it's either kill or be killed. Right. You make no friends in the pits and you take no prisoners. 1 minute, you're up $500,000 in soybeans, and the next, boom, your kids don't go to college and they've repossessed your Bentley. Are you with me?
The Genesis Communication Network is proud to bring you Wall Street Raw with nationally recognized market timer and previous Wall Street Week elf, Mark Leibovit, welcoming you on board his financial time machine. And here is the elf himself, Mark Leibovit.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to Wall Street Raw on this Saturday morning, June 18th. No other day like it. Appreciate that you're taking the time to tune in here on the weekend and listen to our program. Obviously, you have a lot of other choices out there, and perhaps Wall Street is one of your areas of interest. We hope that's the case. Of course, there's a lot going on besides what's going on Wall Street. We talk about a lot of things here on the program. Again, as you probably know, I author a newsletter, a blog website entitled vrtrader.com. Been doing it for several decades, and I am a technical analyst, a contrarian, a cyclical analyst. You may have remembered me years ago as being one of the elves on the old Louis Rukeyser Wall Street Week television program, which was a great honor because Lou at the time had selected what he thought were the best, or at least 10 technical analysts to serve in that role. And you might have heard me on the Nightly Business Report with Paul Kangas as a market monitor guest on PBS for, believe it or not, 30 years, until the show, I believe, just got purchased by CNBC. We don't take any calls on the program. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me at mark.vrtrader@gmail.com, mark.vrtrader@gmail.com. And again, don't forget to check out our website, VR Trader. We do offer a couple free weekly news summary newsletters. One's called Vice News Raw and the other's Gold News Raw. You'll hear about those on the commercial break, so don't hesitate to check in there. And we try to cover the markets here in a very general way, but there's so much going on politically, economically. As you know, I'm pretty upset about the state of American journalism, which I feel has been on the verge of collapse. I feel ideology has permeated hard news coverage, and where honest reporting is almost becoming scarce in both the financial and political circles. I come from a journalist background myself. Actually, I have a degree in broadcast journalism, though I ended up going into Wall Street and ended up becoming a floor trader on the Chicago Board Options Exchange. So I had a detour there a bit from the broadcasting industry, but I guess here, years later, I sort of got back into it. But I've been combining it over the years because I've been writing the letters and so forth. But my feeling is that you're not getting the straightforward commentary. You're not getting the fourth estate in action. That is, the press is not questioning what's really going on. You sit there and watch some of the White House press conferences, and you just watch these guys just sit there accepting all the information as being gospel without challenging things. As far as Wall Street's concerned, the same story. Economic reports are blanketly accepted when they're basically fallacious. There's a miscalculation in the numbers. We have manipulation going on a grand scale, rigging on the scale internationally, which is unbelievable. Very little discussion about that. We can talk about that more in a moment. The Second Amendment is being challenged constantly and not defended by the press. The Second Amendment is what allows us to be free in this country and protect us against government. That's what our founding fathers had envisioned, and once you take guns away, then you can end up like Nazi Germany. So this is the problem, and we just don't have a press that's attacking it, and maybe the press is part of the problem, and maybe they are the problem. In other words, they're just too leftist, or they're too socialist, or they're destructive to our country, but we have to fight for that, and this is part of what I do here in terms of both my analysis of the financial and the political sphere. Both are intertwined. You know, you might say, well, what are we talking about that on a Wall Street program? But a lot is going on in that regard, and you can't ignore that. For example, we'll talk about this hopefully a little bit later in the show. Even the famed analyst, commentator Larry Kudlow came out with a statement during the week. He said, "Overthrow the establishment to fix the economy," and that was a headline. I've been talking about that for a long time. I think we need a major enema in Washington. The Federal Reserve has been acting irresponsibly for 100 years, and talking about abolishing the Fed has been a common subject, at least in my newsletters. And as far as abolishing the IRS, that would also be a favorite one as well. Yeah, we need tremendous change because the system is not working. We have governments openly manipulating equity markets, buying stocks to prevent the markets from going down, or even preventing short selling. We're seeing that in China and in Japan. The U.S. government is doing it through the plunge protection team, but there's no discussion about it because it's politically incorrect. Our government is in there. How do I know that? Well, if you do a little bit of research, you know that Ronald Reagan signed the Working Group of Financial Markets. I think it's Executive Order 12681 back in 1988, which gave the government the power to do just that. And it's sort of called, comically the plunge protection team, but it's out there. But I think we taught China and Japan what to do, and they're doing it. So that's going on. And is that a sign of a healthy stock market or economy? The government has to support the market. In fact, we did similar things preventing short selling. We eliminated the short sell uptick rule here in the U.S. a few years ago, which the big institutions wanted, but that helped protect the small investor by encouraging the need for stocks to uptick if you're going to short sell rather than just hitting the bids and driving them lower. So here's another example of how we're all messed up here. So we have so many things going on in that regard. We have negative interest rates overseas. There is greater and greater risk that it's going to be coming here. Incredible as that sounds, it's becoming less and less incredible because we're hearing more and more talk about it, and that means that there's going to be a charge for keeping money in money markets or in the banks, and that's part of the quote-unquote plan because they're thinking, which I think is incorrect, but get the interest rates down to negative territory, force people to take money out of the banks, and hopefully, rather than stick it in their mattress, perhaps buy stocks or invest and try to get the economy moving. I think people are more cautious than that. I don't think they're going to run into the stock market, and I don't think the stock market, as I said many times, is the place to be. There are a lot of other places besides the stock market. It's manipulated. It's very volatile. Yes, you can trade it, which we do here at VR Trader, but I take the guerrilla approach, the guerrilla attack approach, in and out, trade. I am not of the belief that one should be a quote-unquote long-term investor in the markets. So you have to be able to move and trade accordingly. The old mentors that I worked with years and years ago pretty much rang the register just about every day and reevaluated the markets every day, went to cash very often, and didn't keep all their money in the markets. Keeping all their money in brokerage firms or banks is also dangerous. You never know. There could be a dollar devaluation out of the blue at some point. There could be a financial crisis where funds are frozen. So other places for your money where, real estate, generating some cash flows, maybe not only here in the U.S., maybe in different locations as well, keeping accounts in different countries, not only in the U.S. Obviously, there's a lot of ranting and raving here that we can be talking about. Stay tuned. I'll be back with you after the break. Thanks for joining us on Wall Street Raw.
You're listening to Wall Street Raw with Mark Leibovit. Go to WallStreetRawRadio.com for information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back.
is right against our bodies every day, but growing scientific evidence has emerged showing serious health risks associated with exposure to EMF radiation emitted from these devices. The solution is Defender Shield, the most effective mobile radiation shielding ever developed. Defender Shield blocks virtually 100% of EMF radiation from cell phones, tablets, and laptops, and starts at just $64.99. Buy now at DefenderShield.com. For 10% off, use promo code GCN. DefenderShield.com, the worldwide leader in mobile radiation shielding.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the Internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest price filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
Are you worried about how dangerous the world has become? In these days of terrorist attacks, natural disasters, or even a future collapse, you need to be medically prepared to keep your family safe. I'm Joe Alton, MD of store.doomandbloom.net, where you'll find an entire line of uniquely designed medical kits and supplies for when help is not on the way. For everything from individual first aid kits to the ultimate family medical bag, go to store.doomandbloom.net today. That's store.doomandbloom.net. You'll be glad you did.
Dangerous blood clot device alert. If you or a loved one had an IVC filter placed to prevent blood clots from traveling to your heart or lungs and suffered an injury, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. The FDA warns that IVC filters may cause serious complications, such as heart or lung damage, internal bleeding, and even death. These dangerous blood clot devices can break, and the metal fragments can travel to your heart or lungs, causing serious injury. If you or a loved one suffered organ damage or other injuries from an IVC filter, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Act now. Time is limited to file a claim. For a free consultation and free information, call Injury Help Desk at 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. This is an advertisement. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. InjuryHelpDesk.com is responsible for this advertisement. Principal office, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Looking for that edge during those intimate moments? We see many ads for enhancement, but the side effects include death. At GCN Team, we should change the Healthy Body, Brain, and Heart Pack to the Healthy Libido Pack. The brain and heart are not the only organs that require a healthy vascular system. For proper blood flow at the right moment, go to GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.
Think positive. Never show any sign of weakness. Always go for the throat. Buy low, sell high. Fear, that's the other guy's problem.
Welcome back to the Wall Street Raw Radio Show with Mark Leibovit, your time machine for the financial markets. Want to know more? Go to WallStreetRawRadio.com. Now, here's the elf himself, Mark Leibovit.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw, and thanks for joining us again on this weekend. And we hope that we're going to provide a little bit of encouragement or insight into what the markets are doing or not doing. As you know, I'm a believer of sell may go away. It's poo-pooed a lot, but it's generally a good time of year not to be in the market. There's some statistical evidence. In fact, if you want to fine-tune it, after June 8th, 9th or so is when the selling could possibly really begin, and we saw a little bit of a trading top this past week, and though the markets tried to broach the all-time highs, they didn't quite get through it. We had crude oil surging up to $51.67 a barrel, then backing off. That probably was it for a while for crude oil. Not to say it's going to go back to the lows, but that was a bit of enthusiasm exhausting itself, in my opinion. Watching natural gas move, very interesting in the past couple of weeks, moving higher along with crude oil, but actually showing a little bit more relative strength in crude oil. And, of course, the big story is the metals, the gold and silver market, which gold, in fact, shot up to, I think, $13.16 an ounce, I think, on Thursday before it reversed lower. A lot of this has to do with, as you know, the Brexit vote coming up Thursday, which is the vote whether Britain will stay in the economic union or not. There's a lot of discussion about whether it's a positive or negative event, but I can't say for sure what the outcome is going to be. There's polls going in both directions about what the result is going to be, but it may not make a difference. A lot of the contracts are in place between the UK and EU, and even if they break away, business may continue as usual. There's a lot of stopgap measures being talked about with regard to what the economic union might do, the ECB may do to help prevent a big sell-off in the markets, more money printing, whatever, to try to sustain or support the markets in case big selling emerges if a vote goes negative, assuming that's even interpreted as negative. We don't know for sure. A lot of talk about it may already be factored into the markets. Markets have a way of anticipating and as you know, factoring that into prices. So it may not be such an event. The other event this past week, as you know, was Janet Yellen flinched. She didn't raise interest rates. I've been talking, it's been several years now about how rates really can't go up. We've seen a modest little quarter point increase, but the state of the world is such, the economy, earnings, small business confidence, anemic GDP, fund flows, a whole bunch of reasons we can go into why the economy is not doing well. We have, again, negative interest rates offshore. We have deflation around the world. So for the U.S. to be the only place to raise rates doesn't make a lot of sense. So I think the odds are that maybe September she may try to do something. But, the way it is, we have so much jawboning going on with the Federal Reserve. When the markets sell off sharply, suddenly the talk of raising rates suddenly disappears. If we get a big rally in the market, then some of the Fed governors get a little bit more cocky and they start talking about the need to raise interest rates. So it's a bunch of malarkey, and it's supposed to be data dependent, but I don't think the economy supports that. And, of course, we have the seasonal factors I just referred to. Markets could overall be weak into the fall. So it's not a good time of year for the Fed to be raising rates, regardless of what the Brexit vote is next week. And as I mentioned, there's several signs that a bear market is also near beyond the correction that we're talking about. I mean, yes, we get a rally perhaps after the fall. We tend to get a low in September, October. A lot of this is politically related, of course. Who's going to get elected in November? As you know, I'm more on the Donald Trump side. I think that we need a big change. We're not going to get a big change with the Democrats or Hillary Clinton. We need an enema in the government, much as Larry Kudlow was referring to earlier this week, as I mentioned in segment one, about overthrowing the establishment. Basically, he's saying he's fed up with the way global central banks have been trying to revive the economy. He says nothing they have done has worked, which I agree. So there's really only one option left. And he told us in a CNBC interview. So overthrowing the establishment, what does that mean? We got to really change policy. Does it mean abolishing the IRS and the Federal Reserve? Does it mean more monetary less monetary policy, more fiscal policy here, lowering the taxes, patronizing the offshore funds that have been sitting by corporations offshore for many years, bringing them to the U.S. and giving them an incentive to do so. Listening to government regulations and reducing those across the board. It's been very onerous for businesses, so on and on and on. So, obviously the reasons are out there that we need a big change, and that's why I say, let's make Wall Street great again. Let's make journalism great again, and let's make America great again, because we really do need a change. And unfortunately, if we don't get it, I don't think things are going to get better. And in fact, whether we see a Trump victory or a Clinton victory, markets are going to do what markets are going to do, and there are greater forces at work, and we could still go into a bear market or a correction in either event. It doesn't mean that suddenly it's going to explode to the upside or stay up for any great length of time. Maybe you get an initial surge of some kind. So the basic economic forces that are work around the world is really the determining factor, and right now we're sinking. We're sinking the fact that we've been talking about negative interest rates and so forth to stimulate the economy. It's really, really a very, very serious situation out there. But we have the central banks manipulating the markets. They're in there aggressively. They're going to try to do what they can to keep the markets up. I suppose if they had the power to do so, and they seem to have, at least up for a certain point in time here, to keep the markets up, they'll take the Dow in the next 10, 15 years to some incredible level just to cover their tracks, so to speak, with the thought that if they create paper wealth in the stock market, people are less aggravated. Many investors are not necessarily traders. They have 401k, retirement plans. They have long-term investments in the equity markets, and they see the markets up regardless of whether the fundamentals support it or not. They're not as excited about, changing the government or, cleaning the slate the way Larry Kudlow was talking about or I'm talking about. So there is a plan of action out there, and, we have to keep that in mind with that manipulation, the rigging going on. It's really something that could, detour some of these changes that we would like to see. So again, in the camp that a bear market is near, because of all the reasons that we've cited. We got the Fed out there doing what they're doing, and that's a sign that there are problems. They're acting because there are problems. Earnings of almost all the S&P component companies have come in, and they're way down compared to where they've been. Small business confidence, as I mentioned, is down. Consumer confidence is down. We have an anemic GNP, as I mentioned. A lot of investors have been pulling money out of the market, too. Fund flow analysis has shown many investors are moving out of the markets into tax-free bonds and municipal bonds. So we're going to have a couple guests here, so stay tuned. We got Sinclair Noe coming up, and my good friend Henry Weingarten.
Go to WallStreetRawRadio.com for more information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back.
High-performance investors and traders use superior financial tools to achieve superior returns. You have that tool with Mark Leibovit, nationally renowned top market timer, legendary television Wall Street Week elf, and nightly business report market monitor, who shares with you his unique market tools and commentary at WallStreetRaw.com. At WallStreetRaw.com, Mark provides you with his latest ideas on how to help build and protect your wealth, help you avoid the next big market crash, and also stay healthy to enjoy your wealth. Mark has a special free gift for listeners of the Wall Street Raw radio show. Go to WallStreetRaw.com and sign up for his free weekly Vice News Raw report. While there, go ahead and sign up for his free Gold News Raw report. You will receive both weekly, and both are totally free. No credit card information is required. Sign up today for your free Vice News Raw and Gold News Raw reports at WallStreetRaw.com. That's WallStreetRaw.com.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-704-6182.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-704-6182. That's 1-800-704-6182.
Hi, I'm 54 years of age, and at Christmas time last year, a resident I take care of at work accidentally rolled over my right foot with his motorized scooter. I was backed into a corner, and he put it in reverse and did it again. The bones in my foot weren't actually broken, but damage was done. The remedy was to just let the foot heal on its own, and this was expected to take many weeks. As a caregiver, I do a lot of walking, and I was sort of okay when I was in motion. It's when I stopped to rest that I really felt the pain. The pain was there getting out of bed in the morning, too. So I got on the One World Way a few weeks back, and I just had to write this testimony. No more pain. Nothing. I can only attribute this to the One World Way since I haven't introduced anything else into my life. This product is a true godsend. It gives me energy and did whatever magic this stuff does to heal my poor foot. I will take One World Way for life. Sincerely, Holly.
Call 888-988-3325 or visit oneworldway.com. That's oneworldwhey.com.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-403-4885. That's 1-800-403-4885. 1-800-403-4885. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop. You save. Get full details in the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet anything that is thy neighbor.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw. Want to know more about Wall Street Raw and the Leibovit VR newsletters? Go to WallStreetRawRadio.com.
Welcome back, my special and regular guest, Sinclair Noe from KFNN 1510 Phoenix and author of the blog EatTheBankers.com. Thank you for joining us, Sinclair, this Saturday morning.
Well, thank you, Mark. Always a pleasure.
Well, the story continues. Two big stories, of course. Backtracking a little bit, Janet Yellen pretty much froze and didn't do anything on Wednesday, which was of no great surprise. And the other big conversation, of course, is what the UK is going to do next week. So it seems like no matter which way it goes, there's a rationale that it could be good or bad, and nobody really knows, though I understand a lot of the contracts and the relationships are still in place, and even if Britain leaves, things may not change so dramatically right away. So what do you think?
Well, let's start with the Federal Reserve. And, of course, the FOMC met this past week, and on Wednesday they issued their policy statement, leaving the Fed funds rate unchanged. No surprise there. We knew that was going to be the case following the extremely weak May jobs report that came in with just 38,000 jobs. And they talked about that. They said the pace of improvement in the labor market has slowed, but they say economic growth and economic activity appears to be relatively strong and has picked up a little bit. There's a drag on net exports. Housing has improved. Business fixed investment has been soft. It's starting to sound like stagflation is what they're kind of describing. And the general feeling is that now there's very little possibility of a rate hike in July as well. And that was further information on that came on Friday. St. Louis Fed President James Bullard said, he doesn't see any real reason to raise rates at this point, and he had been a former inflation hawk. So there's a big change at the Fed, and of course, one of the other reasons for not doing anything at this meeting, as Fed Chair Janet Yellen said in her press conference following the release of the statement, she said it had to do with the Brexit as well. They just don't know what's going on out of the Brexit, and that it is relevant to what they're doing. They're going to wait and see. The rest of the world doesn't know what's going on with the Brexit. We've had a number of polls come out that seem to favor the Leave camp. Meanwhile, the bookmakers in the UK are saying, the Remain odds are still on. So we don't really know. And then one of the members of Parliament was shot and killed, stabbed and killed, and she was on the Remain side. So they think there might be some connection with the murder. And everybody just kind of took a pause at the end of the week and trying to stay calm over in Britain. What's going to happen with the Brexit? You're right, Mark. Nobody really knows. But they are treating it as if it will be one of the most volatile trading days that we have seen in a long, long time.
Well, that said, I had read that Reuters reported that the ECB would has publicly pledged to backstop the financial markets. So in case there is any volatility, they're going to do the old plunge protection team routine?
Exactly. And Bank of England has already started adding a little extra liquidity. ECB has promised to do so. Exactly what everybody else will do, don't know. But, yeah, they're standing by to just pump whatever they need to pump into the banking system. I don't know if it's going to be necessary. I don't know that it makes that much difference, really, in the grand scheme of things. The United States would still do business with the UK. The UK would still do business with the mainland of Europe. I really don't know why this should be such a volatile issue, but of course it is. And of course, one of the big things is that there's a fear that it could just see the disintegration of the European Union. Now, whether that's really true or not, I don't know, but then it raises the whole question of what the European Union is really doing and if it's really a worthwhile venture to begin with. And again, it brings up just a lot of questions. It's going to be interesting. Next Thursday is the vote, and Friday morning will be a whole lot of fun next week.
Yeah, a lot of volatility. I think the bet is that there's going to be some weakness into that point because of the uncertainty, and markets don't like uncertainty. Speaking of the Fed, backing up a second here, we noticed, of course, they didn't do anything, but we also noticed the Bank of Japan and the Bank of England pretty much were steady with their interest rate policy this past week. So nobody really did very much. Bank of Japan kept monetary policy steady, and Bank of England kept its interest rate at the same record low level.
Yeah, this is we had a very busy week for central bankers. And, it's just really not much of anything going on there as everybody kind of sits back waiting to see what will happen. Bank of Japan, monetary policy steady, lowered their inflation forecast. The yen moved up against the dollar. Swiss National Bank left their rate unchanged, negative. negative 0.75% for their deposit rate, and the Bank of England kept their rates at a record low, 0.5%, and made no changes to their asset purchase program. But as we said, they have been providing extra liquidity to banks already. Now, this might make for some interesting trades along the way. I mean, just think for a moment, if there is a Brexit and you know that they're going to be pumping liquidity into the banking sector, do you look at some stocks, say a German stock, a Commerzbank, a Deutsche Bank? Do you look at some of the British stocks, banking stocks in particular? What's going to happen to them? They're probably going to be beaten down to a certain extent, and then they're going to be flooded with liquidity. It could make for some really interesting volatility, that's for sure.
Sinclair, we ran out of time. It'll be an exciting week next week, and we'll certainly be able to update everybody what happened in hindsight next Saturday. Thank you for joining us. Sinclair Noe, financial commentator, 1510 Phoenix, and author of the blog, EatTheBankers.com.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you again, Sinclair, for joining us. I want you all to stay tuned. I have a very interesting guest coming up here on segment 4, my old friend Henry Weingarten from the Astrologers Fund. He's a technical analyst and trader for several decades, good friend of mine. As you know, we had a few of the astro people on the show recently, my good friend Ray Merriman and Arch Crawford. They look at a lot of interesting tools, planetary cycles and so forth, but they're also technicians, and I've known them for many decades, and they make some great calls in the market. So don't touch that dial. We'll be back with you after the break.
You're listening to Wall Street Raw with Mark Leibovit. Go to WallStreetRawRadio.com for information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back.
High-performance investors and traders use superior financial tools to achieve superior returns. You have that tool with Mark Leibovit, nationally renowned top market timer, legendary television Wall Street Week elf, and nightly business report market monitor, who shares with you his unique market tools and commentary at WallStreetRaw.com. Here, Mark provides you with his latest ideas on how to help build and protect your wealth, help you avoid the next big market tsunami, and also stay healthy to enjoy your wealth. Mark has a special free gift for listeners of his Wall Street Raw radio show. Go to WallStreetRaw.com and sign up for his free Vice News Raw report. You will receive it weekly, and it is totally free. No credit card information is required, and no one will call. Sign up today for your free Vice News Raw report at WallStreetRaw.com. That's WallStreetRaw.com for your free weekly report from Mark Leibovit and WallStreetRaw.com.
This is a healthcare alert from the Pain Relief Hotline. If you, a family member, or a loved one suffers from knee, back, shoulder, or ankle pain and have Medicare as your primary insurance, we've got great news. You don't have to suffer any longer. You can immediately qualify for a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you by calling our 24/7 Pain Relief Hotline at 866-389-0620. Delivery is free and all paperwork is handled for you. If you are on Medicare and have knee, back, shoulder, or ankle pain, don't wait. You can qualify to immediately receive a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost by calling our 24/7 Pain Hotline now at 866-389-0620. Our representatives are standing by 24/7 to take your call and rush you your pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you. Shipping is free and all paperwork is handled for you. Just call 866-389-0620. That's 866-389-0620. Again, 866-389-0620.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states.
Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
If you have sleep apnea and you're tired of dragging around your big, bulky home CPAP device wherever you travel, what I'm about to tell you may sound too good to be true. MiniCPAP.com now offers a portable device that's as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. Even better, you can try Transcend absolutely risk-free for a full 10 days. Call us now, 1-800-940-5473. Transcend is the world's first portable mini CPAP device. It gives you the freedom to sleep in total comfort anywhere you are. For even more freedom, you can add a battery that's as tiny as a deck of cards. Transcend is so small and so light you can fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. It's FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. It's true. You can enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere, anytime you want. Call minicpap.com now for your 10-day in-home trial. 1-800-940-5473. That's 1-800-940-5473.
There's nothing more enticing and intoxicating than the finest meat cooking on an open flame. Freeze-dried meat from NewHarvest.com is U.S. grown, 100% all natural with no extra fillers. Just grass-fed beef and free-range chicken guaranteed to stay fresh and delicious. Add New Harvest freeze-dried meats to your current food storage. You'll buy direct from the factory, not a third party, ensuring the best price and the highest quality. See all our products at NewHarvestFoods.com. That's NewHarvestFoods.com.
Responsibility begins and ends with our partners and our shareholders, and that's it.
There is no freedom without the law.
Get it? Got it? Good.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw and the final segment with Mark Leibovit. Now, here's the elf himself.
Welcoming a very special guest this Saturday morning, an old friend of mine, Henry Weingarten from the Astrologers Fund, of which he's a managing director. He's been a managing director for the fund for 28 years and a practicing astrologer for over 40 years. In addition to using fundamental and technical analysis, he employs astrology as the primary tool to oversee investment funds and advise institutional investors and money managers worldwide. And I have to attest, having known Henry as long as I have and following him, the forecasts have been incredible. In fact, the beginning of this year, in January, he talked about how the market would test or break the August 24th lows, which it did. Talked about potential of a Trump victory, which occurred. Talked about strength in the cement stocks, which would rally in sympathy, I suppose, with the potential Trump victory. And more importantly, he called for a big buy in gold, which was a tremendous call. So thank you, Henry, for joining us on this Saturday morning.
Sure. Thank you. Well,
where are we on the markets? You want to take a short or long-term view, or you want to talk a little bit about how you approach the markets? I'll let you take the mic.
Well, we'll do that, but let's start short-term first, because right now we have some major positional trades in place. We're short from Dow from 18,000, and we were long on gold from 1210 in this last round, because while we were very bullish on gold in January and February, we were bearish through May to early June. But now that shift began. So if you're traders, and then we'll go back to investors, obviously with Brexit, the markets are going to be down Monday, and they're going to be down for two reasons. One, because they're going to be scared about Brexit, and two, there's astrological reasons. So if you were followers of ours, say, on Twitter, you would have known yesterday we recommended basically buying gold again since it hit the 1300, under 1300, and then again shorting the market. So that's sort of a no-brainer type thing. I don't know which way Brexit's going to go. Some things we have astrological input on, some we don't. That one's I don't know. I know the scariness is there. On the longer side, basically we had 5 forecasts. One is gold, and that's now in another stage, but we believe we're going to be going above 1370, which is currently fair value. We believe markets will generally be down. You know, we're selling May guys. We did our stuff at the end of April, but on the other hand, anytime the market was over Dow 17,775, it's a good short. So I think we certainly will see 17,000 before we see 18,000, and probably a lot lower. And then the Trump situation, which is certainly a very exciting nail biter and a very slow thing, but you know, we did forecast about 9 months ago a Trump victory, and I think it's still going to be the case, although every day is a surprise, and it's also going to be a very long haul. And that meant, of course, among other things, given the world situation, you have security, cyber security, and all that sort of thing, homeland security, guns, that sort of stuff would do very well this year, which, of course, naturally they did. So that's the ballpark. What we like to do, of course, is do what everybody else does, which is fundamental and technical analysis, depending on what we're looking at, on a top-down approach. And then to outperform, we like to use astrology. That's sort of the bottom line.
How do you employ astrology? And maybe give our listeners a little insight into that in terms of the type of indicators you look at, and you know, which are the major astrological signals, if any, that you can talk about.
Okay, well, it's not as simple as that, but we're basically top down. So every year, traditionally, we looked where in the world we want to invest, what countries, what currencies, down through what sectors into individual stocks, because as you know, 75% of all market action is the broad market plus the sector. So we look around, and we have a series of horoscopes we look at. We traditionally have done the high risk parts of people's portfolios, which is commodities and small caps. So we do a lot in oil, we do a lot in gold, we do a lot in currencies, you know, sort of fast moving and lots of fun type of thing. Also, it's a lot more unknown. So we look at that, and then we look at, you know, again, various horoscopes. And if it's a lot of money, we'll look at the horoscopes of individual companies, but usually it's more sector-based and market-based.
I know you focus on a lot of small companies, and you have regular meetings at the Princeton Club, which I've attended. Tell us about any upcoming meetings.
Well, these are for market professionals by invitation, but we do have, if you look at our website, afund.com, our next one is July 21st, and that basically presents companies that we believe as a group will outperform. If you do, as we do, small caps, you can't just buy one or two. You have to buy them in a group of 5 or 10, because, you know, one's going to be a home run or a grand slam and go up. Like, for example, this year almost all the gold stocks, you know, doubled, and the silver stocks doubled, even copper stocks doubled, and so forth. But on the other hand, you're going to have some that are going to just fall apart, and sometimes they'll drop 80%. And very interestingly, we had a company that was going to present a healthcare company, and we were presenting companies that we thought would go between 5 and 10 times over the next 2 years. So that's pretty aggressive. On the other hand, one of the companies we were about to present that day dropped 70% because they failed their phase 3. Which 50% of companies do. They fail on the phase 3 situation. So you have to buy this in a lot and realize that some of the ones you buy are going to go bye-bye. 1 or 2, a couple are going to be neutral, and if you pick well, a couple of them are going to be grand slam home run, which means the whole portfolio will outperform. And that's the way we like to do it.
Real quickly, Henry, we didn't cover crude oil. Do you have any opinions on that going forward?
Yes, absolutely. We've been hitting. This has been a good year for us. Everything's working perfectly. And if you look at our newsletter, for example, you'll see that we said at the end of February, oil would start moving into May, which it did very nicely. Once we hit, and we believe fundamentally it belongs between 40 and 60. However, once we got above 50 and 52, we did our sell signal. We think it's on its way back to 40. Not straight, because you do have the driving season, but traditionally almost always, oil goes down into an election because for some reason politicians don't like having high oil prices. They're, voters don't seem to like that, and then almost invariably it goes way up thereafter. We are quite bullish on oil in 2017, 57 plus targets, but it's going to be a bunch of stepped ladders, because every time it goes up, then you have more production going on. Iran just put another 100,000 barrels on, and so forth. One of the reasons we're going down now. So, but basically, we look at oil the way we looked at gold last year, just basically kids in a candy store. If you choose the right companies, the ones that are not over-leveraged, the ones that don't have too much debt and therefore going to be pulled in by the banks, you can make a lot of money and, 50 to 100% on the right stocks.
Henry, thank you so much for joining us. We've been talking to Henry Weingarten, my good friend, Managing Director of the Astrologers Fund. To get more information, Henry, will we reach you at afund.com? Is that correct?
That's correct. Absolutely.
Okay. afund.com to reach Henry Weingarten and some more great research and technical and astrological analysis. Thank you again for joining us.
My pleasure.
Thank you again, Henry. It's been really a fun show having Henry on. He's been really terrific, and I really enjoy attending his events. And, of course, having Sinclair was always a pleasure. One of the subjects we didn't touch on, I'd like to touch on briefly here in the few seconds we have left on the program, one that's not really discussed in the financial press, is the big strength in Bitcoin, which is the digital currency, which really took off here in the last couple of weeks. So we've been trading it at vrtrader.com using a ETF, ticker symbol GBTC. Not recommending it here. We trade it, but take a look at it. It's very high now. The thing exploded from like $20 up to $140 a share. But Bitcoin itself touched a new recovery high of $776.64 here this past week. It had dropped into the 200s. And that was down from its big high of about 1,200. The point I'm trying to make here, something is going on. The fact that all this movement into digital currency, the movement into gold, the fact that Treasury bonds moved into new highs this past week. Obviously, money is seeking safety, so I think that's an understatement. Forgetting what the Fed did or didn't do, forget what Brexit is going to do or not do. There's so many other underlying negatives that are unfolding here. You really have to be careful and defensive. I think that movement into Bitcoin was just another example of that. So something that you really have to be paying attention to, and unfortunately you don't hear about so much in the financial press. As I always like to remind you, and I'm going to say this again, we do this with our 10 Commandments quote here. There is no freedom without the law. And my good friend Ed Hart used to close his show every week saying, "We will know in the fullness of time." Thanks for joining us on Wall Street Raw.
Thank you for listening to Wall Street Raw with nationally recognized market timer and previous Wall Street Week Elf, Mark Leibovit. If you missed any of today's show or to get in touch with Mark, please go to WallStreetRawRadio.com. Any stocks or investment discussed on Wall Street Raw are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. We first recommend you seek out a licensed financial professional for advice. Go to WallStreetRawRadio.com for more information on Mark's newsletters and products.
High-performance investors and traders use superior financial tools to achieve superior returns. You have that tool with Mark Leibovit, nationally renowned top market timer, legendary television Wall Street Week elf, and nightly business report market monitor, who shares with you his unique market tools and commentary at WallStreetRaw.com. At WallStreetRaw.com, Mark provides you with his latest ideas on how to help build and protect your wealth, help you avoid the next big market crash, and also stay healthy to enjoy your wealth. Mark has a special free gift for listeners of the Wall Street Raw radio show. Go to WallStreetRaw.com and sign up for his free weekly Vice News Raw report. While there, go ahead and sign up for his free Gold News Raw report. You will receive both weekly, and both are totally free. No credit card information is required. Sign up today for your free Vice News Raw and Gold News Raw reports at WallStreetRaw.com. That's WallStreetRaw.com.
This is David Cordani, CEO of Cigna. For more than 20 years, Cigna has worked with the March of Dimes to address premature births in the U.S. Premature births cause horrible suffering and cost billions of dollars each year. That's why Cigna is committed to raising funds and awareness through our employees, family, and friends to improve the health of moms and babies. Please join us in supporting the March for Babies. Start your team today at marchforbabies.org.
My dad was 59 when he collapsed from a heart attack late last year. Just this past August was when we spread his ashes on the St. Croix River. I loved my dad, but boy was he stubborn. He hadn't been to the doctor in over 25 years. His excuse? He simply couldn't afford it. He wasn't a rich man by any means. At less than $107 per month, LibertyOnCall.org would have been the perfect alternative for my father. Don't wait. Go to LibertyOnCall.org right now, for not just your sake, but for the sake of your loved ones. Again, that's LibertyOnCall.org.